As we start our next unit, we're going to transition from talking about carbs and proteins, lipids and nucleic acids, which are all chemicals that are found in living things, to looking at the cells. And there are several different types of cells. There are two main categories that all cells fit into one of these two. So a prokaryote cell is a cell that does not have a nucleus. Key, does not. And that is definitely a vocabulary word that you need to know, not only for the end of this unit test, but also on end of course assessment ECA tests. So some characteristics for a prokaryote, since they don't have a nucleus, they still have DNA, and the DNA is just found in the cytoplasm. So in this picture you can see kind of the outer membrane here that separates the cell from the outside world, and this is their DNA. That yellow material, and that material is just floating around here in this green, would be kind of like a jelly-like substance. That's the cytoplasm. And their DNA is circular, so it has a different look than what we're used to seeing the DNA of our cells looking like. So some examples, well, really bacteria is the biggest example of prokaryotes. Most things don't fit into this category, so it's definitely some older cells that we're looking at here. When we look at prokaryotes, most cells are eukaryotes, and the E is kind of silent, so it's just eukaryote. And this is a cell that has a nucleus. And so because it has a nucleus, that means it has more internal structures, and so they're usually bigger than the prokaryotes. And you can see all these structures here that we didn't see on the previous picture, on the previous slide. So all of those take up a lot of space, and so eukaryotes are normally bigger. The DNA is not found just floating around in the cytoplasm. There still is cytoplasm, but it's definitely, the inside is more full, you can see that. But you're going to find the DNA here inside the nucleus. And if we just kind of blow the nucleus up, so this is the nucleus only, not the whole entire cell. So we're taking this blue ball in this picture and just kind of blowing it up. You're going to be able to find the DNA inside the nucleus, and it's better protected that way if it's protected not only by the outside cell membrane, but also by the nucleus itself. And our shape is a little different. You're going to see the DNA of things with the eukaryote kind of in this X shape when we draw our chromosomes. Normally we draw this X. And some examples of things that are made from, that have eukaryote cells. You and I have eukaryote cells, but plants and even some one-celled organisms like protists that live in the water, but also mushrooms that would fit into the fungi kingdom. Now, there's some similarities. We know that not all cells have a nucleus, but there are 4 items that every single cell has that you're going to need to know. You need to know these 4. So one of the first things is a cell membrane. This is sometimes called a plasma membrane here in this picture, but the cell membrane or plasma membrane, this is what kind of separates the cell from the outside world, so it's a barrier. It allows some things to come in or to go out, so it's for protection. And then also DNA. Now we know that between prokaryotes and eukaryotes the DNA is not in the same location, but you can see on here that they both do have the DNA. Thirdly, they both have cytoplasm, and cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance that helps hold all these organelles in place. So for you and I, since we have eukaryote cells, we have all these organelles that we have to hold into place. Whereas in a prokaryote, they have the cytoplasm as well, they just don't have as many objects to hold into place. The cytoplasm is where a lot of activity is going to take place as we get into some chemical reactions that happen during photosynthesis and during cellular respiration. We'll look more about what happens in the cytoplasm. And the 4th thing that they all have in common is ribosomes. So they all have ribosomes, they all have cytoplasm, and they all have cell membrane and DNA.